is autumn gold. Now, I'll explain a bit more about the horses later, but what you see here is the correct size and conformation for horses from the period. Rebel, the larger one, is probably slightly too large, but within the range. Autumn Gold is with about 14.1 hands, right in the middle of the range for horses in the early Middle Ages and Central Middle Ages. They may have gotten slightly larger in the late Middle Ages, that we don't know for certain. But for the early and Central Middle Ages, we know positively that this is what they approximately looked like. They were short back, in the range between 13.2 to 15 hands, probably 14.5 more likely in the early Middle Ages, and medium to light build, not heavily built. Anybody saying they were drafty is flat wrong. On the character, on one hand here we have, in the livery of Richard Strongbow, is Jack Gaspon. He is presenting a Norman warrior, a Norman soldier, a Norman fighter, a Norman knight, call him what you want, from about the 11th, 12th century. He is wearing, his armor is mail, and by now the mail is no longer just the short sleeve hauberk, not the large t-shirt, but it has mail all the way down the arms and possibly even on the legs. Not yet plate armor, that comes later. You would have either a nasal helmet or a full helmet. In terms of weapons, one of the distinctive things is he has a lance. The method of attacking with the couched lance is introduced in the mid-11th century. Before then, the lance was used overhand or underhand, but not couched. We have theories of why that may be so, and that is quite interesting, but it is an active area of research. He also has a sword. The sword, by now, is one of the most interesting technological developments. Until about the 9th century, we have the pattern-welded sword. It then gets replaced by a mishmash of different technologies, until by Norman times he has an all-steel sword. It is not yet all-steel forged. That won't come until the 14th century with the blast furnace. But it is forged together from strips of steel. He also has what we know as a kite shield. Where the kite shield comes from is not entirely certain. It may have come from Byzantium. It was quite popular there, where it was used by infantry as well as cavalry. You can see the strap around his neck, that's the gauge. What that allows him to do is have the sword on his back while it is not the shield on his back while it's not being used, or hold it over the head of his horse to protect from arrows from the front. This is when attacking archery units. Archery was not yet a very well developed discipline in Europe, but let's say in the East, Byzantium, the Parthians, in Persia, they were very active bowyers, and there it would have been absolutely necessary to be able to protect your horse while attacking. The saddle we're showing here is a Camargue saddle. The saddle was probably not yet quite so well developed in the Norman times, but it was getting there with a fairly high cantle, that is the back, and the high arson in the front, to both give a strong seat, which you needed for the couch lance charge, was not so necessary for the other techniques with the over-underhand lance, and to keep the rider essentially seated while he's on the horse.